items have been hardened with glue and water so that they stay hard. Now I'm going to harden this little snowflake. There's a link for the pattern for making the snowflake. What you need is some sort of white glue. I have 2 here. It can be any brand of white water-soluble glue. Here's Scotch, and then this is wood glue. I actually prefer using wood glue because it's a little bit harder than the paper glues. Then you need some warm water, some kind of a container, the right size for what you are going to do, and something to mix with. First, wet the item you are going to harden and squeeze the extra water away from it. Then pour some glue and add water. I normally have 60% glue and 40% water, approximately, sort of guess, and mix well. Then dip the item into the mix and make sure it's covered. Then lift it out. Squeeze some of the extra glue out of it. Then set it to dry on something that it doesn't stick to. Plastic trays are great. You need to shape it right so it dries well. I normally let it dry overnight to make sure it's really hard, and larger items can take a whole day, of course depending a bit on what kind of glue you are using. Here I have a larger item to harden the another side of this sort of a ball. So for that I have a larger container with glue and I drop it in. You need to make sure that every bit is covered in glue. With this one I'm shaping it over a big ball. I'm stretching it over it and actually attaching it using knitting needles. This bowl is metal, so I covered it with cling film so the crochet doesn't stick to it. I forgot to say to use knitting needles that you are not going to knit with anymore. I don't use these ones anymore. So this is how this one looks like. So it just depends what you are hardening, what you need to do to get it hardened right. Often people also use balloons. You put your thing around the balloon, and then when it's hard, then you just let the air out of the balloon.